Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're on the way to 10,500 subscribers, I think. And if you could like the video as well, that would be great. It's a Saturday night. Manchester United have just won the FA Cup, which mixed emotions about because I'm glad that City won. But equally, it means no trip to Wembley this summer. You know, it was good vibes at Wembley for the Community Shield last summer. And also you've got certain United fans giving it yappa about how they've had a better season than us. So look, it's mixed emotions on it, but ultimately I'm glad that 115 charges didn't win. I just wish Man City could have played like that at any point in the title running. Both of them have to go. Their minutes combined are awful. Get Eze in to replace them. That social joins, I believe, is based on the thumbnail and title. Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira. What is the future of Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira? Look, we'll get into it. There's some other news as well. But it's good to see loads of you here on this Saturday night, bank holiday weekend. Tom McFadden, Sportcat. Commiserations, Sportcat, the Chelsea fan, our resident Chelsea fan, Conference League for Chelsea after that result. You know what? It's quite brutal. After they had really done well at the end of the season to claw themselves into sixth, to only end up in Conference League is unfortunate, but could be worse. You could be Newcastle and not in Europe at all. Icarus, Alex, Vivi, Vladdy and Johnson, Oslo, Guna, George Christodoulou, Junior Films, King Kylo, Ethan Udall, Gabe, Hannah, Ultra Pro Gamer, Zell, Daryl Mako, Hyper Protagonist Nathan, John, Smithy, and more. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Suddenly, the FA Cup is a massive achievement, but where we won it in 2020 and finished 8th, all anyone ever mentioned was that we were finished, that we finished 8th. The double standards are so obvious. Yeah, look, I tweeted this out a minute ago, or a few minutes ago. It is funny. It is funny how it changes. When Arsenal, look, the 2019-2020 season, Arsenal finish 8th, win the FA Cup. Was anyone coming out to say that Arsenal had a better season than, for example, Manchester United, who finished 3rd and won nothing? No, they weren't. It's one of those, when Arsenal were qualifying for the top 4 every year, top 4 wasn't a trophy. When Arsenal stopped qualifying for the top 4, it was a massive thing. When Arsenal win FA Cups, 14 of them in total, but when we're winning FA Cups, it's a rubbish trophy. It doesn't mean anything. When Arsenal aren't winning FA Cups, all that matters is winning a trophy and nothing else in a season matters. There's no winning. There is no winning. But, you know, the one thing I would say is that regardless of winning the FA Cup, Ten Hag's job is still in danger, whereas Arsenal fans are entirely behind Mikel Arteta. And I think that in itself probably speaks volumes. It probably speaks volumes. The social media era, exactly. The social media era. Indeed, Newcastle may need to sell because they're not in Europe. Yeah, look, it might change what they have to do. I think realistic. There's nothing, as far as I'm aware, there is nothing in either Isak or Bruno G's contracts that mean that they have to be sold for, they have to be sold if they don't get Europe or anything like that. I don't think there's anything like that in their contracts. I do think it's in their contracts that their wages go down if they're not in the Champions League. I don't know if that changes between then the next tiers down of European football. But it may well be that the two of them are more likely to push for a move away, knowing that they're not going to be in Europe at all next season. And people say, well, the Conference League, would they really have cared about being in the Conference League? Yes, for starters, they would. But actually, as well, it's about, if they're looking to the future and they're looking about getting, Newcastle progressing again, the Conference League would have been a really good opportunity for them to kind of guarantee Europa League football the season after by winning it. They'd have backed themselves to win the Conference League. It is a European title. So, yeah, we'll see what happens in that sense. But no Community Shield curse. We're winning it next season. Yeah, look, the Community Shield curse is a thing. So maybe it's a good thing. Do you think we can get Elise? Chelsea seem to be in for him now as well. No, I don't think we're going for Elise, really. I've not seen anything particularly linking us to Elise. I think United and Chelsea are both in for him, so I don't think we'll get him. What do you think will happen with Ten Hag now? Well, it's an interesting one, right? Because I actually think if the decision had already been made on Ten Hag before the final, they should stick with their decision. And the reason for that is their decisions shouldn't have been results-based in the first place. If they were getting rid of Ten Hag, they should have been getting rid of him because they didn't believe that his style, his philosophy was good enough for the club and that he was going to take them in the right direction. That doesn't change in one game. Winning the cup final doesn't change that. So, if they now decide to keep him, but were previously planning on getting rid of him because he won the cup final, that means the entire thing was results-based. And I get football is a results business, but we'd have sacked Arteta if we'd done it purely based on results. So I think if they've changed their mind purely based on that one-off win, I think that's a mistake. Now, equally, I do think it would be incredibly harsh to get rid of him. You know, I think you look at what he's done actually with a relatively poor squad that's had a lot of injuries. He finished in the Champions League last season and won a trophy. And this season, all right, they finished 8th, but now he's won a trophy and then they're in the Europa League. So it's I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, to be quite honest. I would say, given the current managerial market, the landscape, I would keep him. There's no one out there that's available, I don't think, that really is going to come in and do a particularly better job. I do think he's made mistakes with signings. I do think he's made mistakes with signings. If he can drop his ego and let Ineos do it for him, which is what they want anyway, then I think that could work. But we'll see. Wilsey, good to see you. Anyway, so the news on Arsenal today. So the reason I wanted to talk about Smith Rowe, Charles Watts said today, talks have been scheduled between Arsenal and Emile Smith Rowe to decide on his future. They will take place imminently. They will take place imminently. Smith Rowe has a deep affection for Arsenal, but getting regular game time is now the key to the 23-year-olds. And Tim Stillman followed it up, by kind of making the point. This season, Smith Rowe played 353 minutes in the Premier League and 45 minutes in the Champions League. That's just not enough for him or for us, right? For an asset that's worth as much as he is, that's not enough. And for him at 23 years old, it's not enough. And I think the logical thing, taking emotion completely out of it, taking out how much I love Smith Rowe, I think the logical thing is to move Smith Rowe on. The difficulty is, I feel the same way about Fabio Vieira. And I think you have to get rid of one of them, not both of them. I think, and I've said this numerous times, I think they take up the same spot on the bench. And you get rid of one of them and the other keeps that spot on the bench. That spot, long term, may end up becoming Ethan Nwaneri's spot on the bench. But shorter term, one of them has that spot on the bench. And the question is who? The question is which one of them? I think Smith Rowe is a better player than Fabio Vieira. I think Smith Rowe is a better player than Fabio Vieira. But you get a lot more money for Smith Rowe. You're losing a lot less money if you keep Vieira and sell Smith Rowe. Now, that's tough. And I do think that whichever one of them stays next season, I think they will get more game time next season. But Smith Rowe in the current market, I just think we'll get more money for him. And there's more of a market for him. So it's painful. Frogs go quack. Good to see you. Pecker as well. Good to see you. It's painful, but I do think Smith Rowe is the one that ends up going. The other thing is that Smith Rowe has 2 years left on his contract. If you don't get rid of him this summer and he continues to not really play for us, and then we look at selling him next summer, you've just lost a ton of value for no real reason. So it is painful. It is painful, but I think Smith Rowe is the one that goes this summer, logically. And the fact that they've scheduled talks imminently, the fact that they want those talks early this summer. Look, I'm sure they have talks with most players and most agents, but I feel like, I do feel like it's the end of the road, unfortunately. Depends on which one you prefer. Smith Rowe carries a movement or Vieira's vision and final pass. Yeah, exactly. It does depend which one you prefer. But I just don't think you can keep both of them. I don't think you can keep both of them. ESR is my boy. Smith Rowe's a good player. Smith Rowe's a great player. Smith Rowe is a great player, but neither of them are going to be good enough to start, in my opinion. Fred, good to see you. Bruno G for ESR. Well, I think they're slightly different. You know, for me, as it is, Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira are still, for me, the Erdegaard backups. They're the Erdegaard backups. They're not the box-to-box midfielders. They're not the pivot players for Declan Rice. Neither of them are that. So they are just Erdegaard's backups, which is also the position I think Nwaneri is being moulded for. So I don't think it's beyond. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that even by next summer, we have neither of them. By the end of next summer, it wouldn't surprise me if we have neither Vieira or Smith Rowe. But I don't think you can rely on losing both of them this summer and then having Nwaneri as the first backup for Erdegaard. So, and that is, by the way, all on the assumption that we don't go out and sign a player that can play that role. So Social Join said bring Eze. You know, if we brought in an Eze, if we brought in a Xavi Simons, I think it would be more possible. But I don't know if we will. I don't know if we will bring in one of those players. Would we keep Smith Rowe just for the homegrown slot? No, the homegrown slot's not that important, to be honest. We've got enough academy players that we can register as the homegrown players that we're fine. Don't really know why we bought Hutchinson off you guys. Looks like we are going to sell him without even playing for us to make profit. To make profit. You did, and I don't mean to sound aggressive here, you did exactly what we would have done. You did exactly what we'd have done. You loaned him out, you increased his value, and you'll flip him on for profit. But you convinced him that that wasn't what you were going to do. When Arsenal were giving him an offer, the offer would have been, look, we'll try and get you through to the first team, but the reality is that we've got Bukayo Saka there. You'll probably go out on loan. And he said, no, I'm too good for that. And you convinced him that at Chelsea he'd be given a chance, and he never was. And now you're going to flip him, and you'll probably make 20 quid. You know, you'll probably make 20 million pounds of raw profit, right? And you're looking at this summer. You've already got Cole Palmer, and supposedly you've said that Nkunku is going to be your number 10. You know, supposedly the plan is Nkunku will be your 10, and Palmer will stay on the right. So Palmer is your starting right winger. You've then got Madueke. You've just bought Esteval. Apparently, you want Elise. You've got Kendry Paez. You've got Hutchinson. That's 7 players for the same position. It's insane. But it's smart. But it's smart because you flip £20 million profit. And that's £20 million profit that we should have had. And that's the annoying thing. That's where I still don't think that we are competent in some parts of the transfer market. I really don't get our transfer policy. It baffles me. Profit. A lot of it is to make a profit. That's it. That is it. A lot of players you have no intention of ever seeing the light of day at Chelsea, but you bring them into profit on them. Because we aren't in the Community Shield, does that mean we'll have an extra preseason game, or will it just be the Emirates Cup and 2 games in America? I think we'll have an extra Emirates Cup game, I want to say. Did we not only play 1 Emirates Cup game last year? Or am I mistaken? I felt like last season we played 1 fewer game than normal because of the Community Shield, but I might be wrong. You should make a new transfer window wishlist video. Yeah, I might do that. Feels odd saying that. I can't wait for the international games because this break will kill me. Yeah, I mean, look, 3 weeks until the start of the Euros. Next weekend, obviously, we've got the Champions League final. Tomorrow, I'll be live on Tifo tomorrow for the playoff final. Link to that's down in the description. JP, I'm good. Thank you very much. I hope you are too. What happens if Arsenal don't win a trophy next season? What will happen to Arteta? Got to provide context. I feel like this is and you're not the only one. I hear this question a lot. What happens if you don't win a trophy? What's the context of not winning a trophy? If we get, let's just argument's sake, right? Let's take 2 extremes of not winning a trophy. Let's say we don't even make it through the league phase of the Champions League. We get knocked out in the early rounds of both of the cups, and we're not in a title race, right? Then I think you ask questions, because in that sense we'd have gone backwards big time. The other side of that, what happens if we get to the Champions League final, the FA Cup final, and we finish second in the Premier League on 98 points and City get 99? Then you keep Arteta because it's unbelievable progress. And that's the difficult thing with answering that question. There has to be the context of what happens around it. I think if we even if we have a season like this again next season, it'll be tough. But I still think we stick with him. If we, and I don't think this will happen, if we massively regress somehow and we're nowhere near the title race and we don't do that well in the cups, then I think you've got a problem. But and it even comes down to the context of what happens in the competitions. You know, this season we drew Liverpool in the FA Cup. Last season we drew City in the FA Cup. If that happens again, I can accept getting knocked out. It's not ideal, but you can accept it. If in the early rounds you're unlucky enough to get one of the two best teams in the competition, that's tough. You know, if in the Champions League, if our first knockout game of the Champions League is against Real Madrid and we go out, I can accept that. So it's all about the context of how it happens. Whereas if you go out in the FA Cup to a championship team and you get knocked out of the Champions League to, you know, I don't know, Porto, then I think you've got issues. Porto aren't going to be in the Champions League next year, but you know what I'm saying. Who do you think who do you even bring in? That's the other thing. That's the other part of that context, Vlad. Who do you bring in? You know, is there someone available next summer that would definitely be an upgrade on Arteta? Or is it going to be like this summer where there is no manager out there that I would go near to replace Arteta? There's so much of it, you know, there's so much context that you have to provide for a question like that. Did you see what the Arsenal Twitter admin posted? Yeah, I did. I rate it. What are you talking about keeping Mikel for? Someone asked if we don't win a trophy next season, what happens? But like I said, you got to have context. How likely do you think Gyökeres is now? I'm increasingly not confident. Look, there are still stories out there that we do still want a striker and that he's on the radar. I don't know, truthfully. I think it will depend who else goes in for him as well. What did they post? It was basically a post about how we're the most successful team in FA Cup history. It was put together as like a question quiz thing, as if it was just Eddie. But it was like right after full time in the FA Cup final. They posted about how it was, it was like Arsenal, the most successful side in FA Cup history. The views on YouTube are really picking up. Yeah, they are. Look, I've got to say a massive thank you, by the way, to those of you that watch live and to those of you that watch it back as a video. 2 of the last 3 streams that we've done have done over 5,000 views, which for this channel is massive. It's massive. So I do massively appreciate that. And you know what? If you stop during the stream or the video and you click that like button, it genuinely does help me. The last few streams, we've got over 100 likes during the live stream, and it does help. I don't like begging for likes. It's very shameless, but it genuinely does help me. So, no, shout out to you lot. I really do appreciate you. If we get Man United's run in the FA Cup next season, we win it easily. Well, that's the thing, right? That's the thing. That's, again, where you've just got to look at the context. You've got to look at the context. It'll be weird to see how the transfer window works when the Euros and Copa America goes on. Players probably will not want to think about it and focus on their country. Not a lot will happen. Transfer-wise, for players that are playing, they won't move. No player that's playing in the competition will move during the Euros or Copa America. I appreciate that, King Kai. Thank you. John, welcome back. Yeah, look, during the Euros, I don't know about Copa America, but during the Euros, there have been reports that like the hotels for the players have been basically made journalist-proof, spy-proof. There is not going to be a lot going on. Clubs, look, the international managers, the national team managers, they're not going to want their players talking to clubs and stuff trying to get a move. So what you'll see is you'll see a flurry of deals happen before. Then you'll have a month basically of just speculation. Of course, there will be some moves for players that aren't playing, that aren't taking part. There will be some moves. And then you'll have a flurry straight after, because straight after it, teams haven't got that long between the end of the Euros and Copa America and the start of preseason. And if you're like Arteta, you know, lots of these managers are going to want most of their business done before the start of preseason. So yeah, there's going to be a flurry, then the football, then another flurry, and then obviously it will continue throughout August. But I don't want you to get bigger because you will never see my comments, but I am an ass. John, I appreciate you. No, I've always got time to read as many comments as I can. That will never stop. Brazil win with a Martinelli hat trick. We can dream. We can dream. I mean, I don't know how much Martinelli will play, to be fair, but we can dream. Might see an Enzo goal or Gvardiol situation at the Euros. Yeah, possibly. Sorry, might even see an Enzo or Gvardiol situation at the Euros. Yeah, look, I don't want that. I don't want that. I said this on, I can't remember what stream I was on, but I said this before. If I haven't spoken about how I want a player before the Euros or before Copa America, like if there's not a player that I've spoken about on here and I've said that I want them, I will not, after the Euros, have a player that suddenly I'm like, oh, we've got to sign that player. I will not get dragged in to wanting to sign a player off the back of a good international tournament because it just so rarely works. When does the window open? Normally it's the 1st of June, right? Is it the 1st of June? Let me Google it. When does the transfer window open? Friday. Oh, no, June 14th. June 14th. So actually, there won't be transfers. Actually, there won't be transfers before the start of the Euros. The window opens. The window opens on Friday, June 14th, which is the day that the Euros starts. Which is interesting. So there may not actually really be many transfers, unless they're ones that like they've basically just fully agreed before the start of before that date, and then they just sign it off on the day. Isn't the name Rory Irish? There's some variations. It's I think mine is actually more Scottish than Irish. There's the Irish one, I think, is the one that has a far different spelling. You know, some people spell Rory and it's like Raurigh. It's wild. Amrabat. Yeah, Amrabat's an example. Ospina is an example. There's loads of examples. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if England gets Spain and Rodri constantly commits unnoticed fouls on Saka and that gives him an injury, ruling him out for the first part of the season. I hope not. Yeah, I hope not. I mean, to be fair, Rodri shouldn't really be too close to Saka during a game like that, but Goetze. Yeah, Goetze's kind of one. I mean, Goetze was a good player. James Rodriguez. Yeah. Enzo Fernandez, obviously. But there are lots of them. That come out. Ainsley and Lacquer playing the French Cup final tonight. Yeah, they are, actually. Where's the Rodri mentality comments? Yeah. Rodri made those mentality comments and lost the very next game. You'll love to see it. Is there a player who we've had zero links to that you'd like? A player we've had zero links to that you would like? Good question. Thing is, I get confused between players that we've had links to and players that I have tried linking us to. So I get confused. But I don't think so. I mean, there are some. I mean, we've not been linked to Elise, to be honest. We've not been linked to Elise, so that's one of them. Where's Haaland? Haaland ghosted again today. Haaland ghosted. Foden ghosted. Foden was played off the left. He was absolutely terrible in the first half, and yet I still see England fans that want Foden at left wing in the Euros. Yeah. Kudos. Absolutely. We've not been linked to him this summer, no. We've not been linked to him this summer. I did see we've been linked to Desiree Doué now. We've finally been linked to Desiree Doué from Stade Rennes, who we spoke about the other night. The other bit of news actually today was about Mika Biereth. Obviously, he was on loan. Well, he was on loan at two different clubs this season. He was on loan at Motherwell, followed by being on loan at Sturm Graz, where he ended the season. They actually won the double. Sturm Graz won the domestic double in big part thanks to Mika Biereth. And their sporting director came out and said, we want to try and sign Mika permanently. There is an appointment with Arsenal next week. Maybe they will quote a price that could be feasible for us. We can push our limits a little bit higher for a player like that. So potentially selling Mika Biereth this summer. If we don't, I think he goes out on loan again. I think he goes out on loan to a bigger club. No offense to Sturm Graz, but I think he could go on loan to a top-end Premier League team. Top-end Premier League team, you donkey. Top-end Championship team, sorry. Maybe for another season. But Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Interesting to see. The thing is, I don't know, for a team like Sturm Graz, like, I don't really know what a high-end transfer fee is for them, right? Like, they're not gonna be coming in and dropping 20 million, is my guess. So, I'd loan him once more and then sell him. Yeah, me too. The only thing is I don't know when his contract runs out. That's the only issue. I don't know how long his contract is. Fede Valverde is someone I would love to see us getting linked to. Same, but I think he's too useful. I don't think Real Madrid will let him go. Valverde's too useful. I think their record is 5 million. Yeah. See, that's the issue, right? That's the issue. Beereth was Cheeto years ago. We should get the cash. The future is safe with Cheeto. I mean, yeah. I mean, Beereth was never even at Cheeto's level, to be fair. He was never even at his level. Yeah, Vlad said I hope we're selling him for 15 to 20, but I think that'll be tough. We've got links with the 15-year-old Irish dude, don't we? Yeah, we do. What team does he play for? St. Patrick's. They're called St. Patrick something or other. Either 15 or 16. I mean, there is more and more talk about how we're investing in youth now. We're going to be spending a lot of money this summer actually on academy products, which is interesting. Just found out Cheeto is Danish. Yeah, Cheeto is dangerous. He is dangerous. He is bloody dangerous. But he is also Danish. Yeah, he's currently in the under-17s Euros, playing for Denmark in the under-17s Euros, and he's playing well for them as well. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I love your streams, my friend. Favorite Guna informative. I appreciate that. Apparently, we want to buy Timber's brother, who plays in the same position as Smith Rowe. Yeah, Quinton Timber. Quinton Timber, he's had a good season. In fact, you know what? Whilst we're here, why don't we whack up Quinton Timber? Because it's an interesting one. Because I always think it's a really interesting dynamic to have brothers. But this is Quinton Timber, plays for Feyenoord. Just really similar to Yuri and Timber, to be honest, in terms of stature and stuff. Right-footed, 22 years old, still young. Plays as a central midfielder, can play as a defensive midfielder. High chance creation for a midfielder. I mean, to be honest, he gets forward a lot more than a traditional midfielder, truthfully. And gets on the ball a bit less, actually. But yeah, I mean, greenery. I see trees green. When it comes to shooting, I mean, when it comes to passing, that ain't great. To be honest, I'm quite baffled. I think it's just the way that Feyenoord play. And what his role is within Feyenoord's team. Because that is shambolic. For a central midfielder, that is shambolic. But his chance creation is really high. So, successful dribbles is decent. Doesn't take many touches. But does take a lot of touches in the he basically plays as a cam. Like, all of these stats point to someone who's just not playing as a box-to-box midfielder, basically, even though it says he is. So, I think he must just play further forward, right? Defensively, this is great. That doesn't matter too much. I mean, again, I need to watch him play, to be quite honest with you. This whole chart is just baffling. That whole chart is just baffling. But I think it's because they're comparing him to central midfielders, and I'm just not sure that that's what he's currently doing for Feyenoord. He's in the Netherlands squad, yeah. He is in the Netherlands squad. You'll be able to watch him over the course of the Euros. How do you think Slot will do next year? I think he'll do all right based on the fact that I don't think the competition is going to be great. I think next season the Premier League is going to be super interesting, but ultimately, okay, Spurs will probably improve a bit under Ange. Villa, it's difficult to keep up the level that they've performed at this season. Newcastle, I think, are going to struggle. Chelsea, new manager. United, potentially a new manager. Like, I think Slot will do all right just based on the competition. He's not going to be coming up against a really well-firing Chelsea or a well-firing United, which will help him. If we didn't sack Poch, I'd say we'd have got top 4. Possibly, yeah. I think you were on the right track to do it. Just found out there's a third Timber brother. Does he play? Our left side would be so sick with Timber and Timber. It would be quite cool. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. There is a third Timber. There is a third Timber. What was he on FOTMob? Was that did his name come up when I typed in Timber? Dylan. Is this their brother, Dylan Timber? Is he related to them as well? Or is he not related to them? Plays for VVV Venlo. Bloody hell. VV Vlad should play for these lot. VVV Venlo. VVV Vlad. I can't lie, his stats are absolutely fucking awful. Oh, no, wait, that's because that's total stats. Per 90. That's not bad. Oh, wait, he's not up on screen. Is it this guy? Is this their brother? Plays at centre back or right back? So he's more like Urian, really. Nice. You know I like it. You know I like it. That's mental. I mean, to be fair, he's only started 8 games this season. They don't even have all of his stats, to be fair, but pass accuracy, that's good. That's good. Fucking hell, we'll just get him in as well. Just get all 3 of them in. Why not? Why not? Get all 3. Collect them all. He looks similar. Yeah, he looks fairly similar. I'd say Quinton and Urian look really similar to each other. Dylan doesn't look quite as similar. He's actually older. He's 24. He's 24. We're not lumberjacks. We don't need to collect so much timber. Well, why not? Why not? Buy up all the timber. Imagine the trickery we could do with all 3. Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great. Every time one of them gets booked, we'll just pull the Gibbs Oxlade Chamberlain stunt, but with 3 people that have all got the same name and look pretty similar to each other. Thoughts on Arsenal's shameless tweet? I rate it. I have this gut feeling that Vieira will go up a level and be top class in the future. I've still got hope for Vieira. I've still got hope for Vieira and Smith Rowe. I do, but the reality is time is up for one of them. You know, the thumbnail says time up. Time is up for one of them, in my opinion. I don't see a world in which they both are in the squad next season. They're twins. That makes more sense. That must actually be quite difficult for Dylan then. Because Urian and Quinton are both 2 years younger than him. And both of their careers are further forward. That's tough. He seems like such a final moment player. He is a final moment player, yeah. What if we keep them both and sell Ødegaard? You'll find me hanging off the nearest bridge, I think. Probably. I'd rather Arteta be honest and just sell who he doesn't want to use. Yeah, but he can't do that. If he comes, he can't be honest about who he wants to get rid of because then it hammers their market value. If Arteta comes out and says, I don't want X, Y, or Z to play for us next season, I mean, even what Sambi Lokonga's done. Sambi Lokonga coming out and saying that he's not part of Arsenal's plans lowers his transfer value. Because in any negotiation, the buying club for Sambi Lokonga will say, well, you don't want him next season. So if you don't sell him, you're going to lose money. Could really see Smith Rowe thrive at Palace. I could see him thriving at a lot of Premier League clubs. I could see him thriving at a lot. And that's the thing. That's where it's going to be difficult, right? Is that you're going to see Smith Rowe probably move to another Premier League club and probably do very well there, and that'll be tough to watch. But we have to get used to that, you know? We will reach a point, right? And we're already getting to that point where we will be selling players who are very good players and who will improve the majority of teams below us. That's the point. That's the point Man City are at, right? The point Man City are at, they sell a Cole Palmer and it doesn't really bother them. But he makes a massive impact for Chelsea. Now, Cole Palmer maybe was a mistake, but they do it all the time and they don't care. They didn't care that they sold us Jesus and Zinchenko. They don't care that they sold Chelsea Kovacic. No, they bought Kovacic from Chelsea. That was done. But you know what I mean? They don't care. We have to get used to that. And Emil Smith Rowe will be one of the first ones of those. We have to be ruthless. We do. We do. The thing we have to do, though, is get more money for them, right? So, because people say, oh, we should never have sold Emi Martinez. We should have sold Emi Martinez. We should have sold Emi Martinez. We shouldn't have sold Emi Martinez for 17 million quid. That was the mistake. Selling Martinez wasn't a mistake, I don't think. Selling Martinez for 17 million quid, that was a mistake. Thoughts on PSV's Bakayoko? Our version of Doku? Yeah, I like Bakayoko. I do like Bakayoko. I think that position's going to be interesting. I've seen a couple of things today. I didn't write them down, but I saw a couple of things today that we are definitely going for a pacey, explosive pace type of winger, like a Doku, I guess. Keep an eye on. Well, I mean, come and watch me on the watch along of the playoff final tomorrow. But keep an eye on it anyway. If Leeds don't win against Southampton tomorrow, Somerville is going to absolutely be sold this summer and for not as much money as if they get promoted. How likely do you think Gyökeres is? I'm increasingly not confident. I don't think it's that likely, in all honesty. We're not being massively linked for him. Who do you think goes up tomorrow? I actually think Leeds will win. I do think Leeds will win. But equally, I thought Man City would beat Man United in the FA Cup final today, and they didn't. So you never know. You never know. You did ask that question earlier, but it's fine. We've answered it twice. I've answered the same one twice. Honestly, think we have no idea who's coming in. Yeah, this is the biggest point, right? This time last year, and this is look. I love making these shows, right? I just find it fun to talk about the links, to talk about the options. I enjoy talking about it, and I enjoy looking into different players and all the rest of it. The reality is this. This time last year, we'd never been linked to Timber. We'd never been linked to Kai Havertz. We'd never been linked to David Raya. We'd not even been linked to a goalkeeper, right? We signed all three. This time last summer, we were talking about a load of different players that we never even went near by the time the summer actually started. And so when we look at who we're going to buy. Okay, Declan Rice, we were strongly linked to before last summer. That was different. This summer, we've not been strongly linked to anyone. Not in the way that we've been linked to Declan Rice. There are tenuous links all over the place, and we talk about them. Jake has got it bang on. So what I'm saying is we're signing Mbappe. No, we're not signing Mbappe. But I just think there's no point panicking. There's no point panicking. Most of the media is educated guesses. It is. Most of the media is educated guesses. I want to know when Nwaneri is going to get more minutes. Next season. A lot of the talk is that Nwaneri will be a fairly regular fixture on the bench next season. In certain games, he'll get time, especially in like the Carabao Cup. Alex made a good point that this ridiculous Man U team could have been us, if only we didn't get or sacked Arteta. Thoughts? Yeah, it could have been. He's right. This is the thing. If we'd sacked Arteta, we would have ended up in the same never-ending cycle that I think they're in, which is trophies here and there. Because look, you go out and you buy enough players, you will win trophies. Trophies here and there, but no real progress. And I think that's the position that they're in. And I think they'll continue to be in that position if they sack Ten Hag. But I'd happily play with Nwaneri. I'd happily play with Nwaneri while he develops and teach him all I know. If you're good enough, Jake. The more minutes Nwaneri gets indicates to me how Arteta views MLS or Dubry. I think Dubry's not going to get that close, unfortunately. Miles Lewis-Skelly, I think, will. But why does Arsenal rarely include release clauses for players? Because they're not that useful. Most top clubs don't. Most top clubs don't include a release clause when they sign a player. Because it just means that you don't have control. Like, having a release clause in a player's contract takes control away from you. If you can avoid it, avoid it. Jesus got less goal contributions this season than Lacazette. In his last season at the club, Jesus has to go. I just don't think we can do enough in this window. I do think there are players you look at and you go, the final form of Arsenal doesn't include that player. And I think Jesus is one of them. I just don't think we can get rid of so many players this summer because we can't bring enough players in to replace them. So if we're talking about losing one of Smith Rowe and Vieira, we're talking about losing Nketiah, we're talking about losing Reece Nelson. If you suddenly throw Jesus into that as well, you need to go out and buy 3 attackers this summer. We're not going to do that. We're not going to go out and buy 3 attackers this summer. Jesus next season for me is a versatile option across all of the front 3. He's someone that can come on and look, he can be explosive when he comes on. We saw it with the equalizer against Bayern. We saw it with the winner against United. He's an explosive player. Yes, he's lost pace. Yes, I don't think he can start for us, but Arsenal fans kill me. I love it. Nothing, and nothing. I don't really get that, but Jesus brings people into play. That's where his assets lie. Yeah, I agree. Jesus is a left 8? No, not for me. Not for me. We need a proper left 8. Not Jesus, not Trossard, not Smith Rowe, not Fabio Vieira, not Kai Havertz. Proper. I talked to a Liverpool fan earlier in the season and he claimed Curtis Jones was better than Rice this season. Yeah, well, look, everyone's got their own issues to deal with. I still think Reece Nelson is good enough to be our Jeremy Doku. Unfortunately, I just don't think Arteta sees it that way. Thoughts on Cook Miners? Good player. Selling Nketiah and Jesus, get Isaac and Sesko. Yeah, but again, you're like, just being realistic, you're not doing Isak and Sesko in the same window. Like, just fully being realistic about it. Of course, I'd love it. I would love us to go out and sell every player that isn't part of our final form and buy every player that is. Can't do it in one window. What about Morgan Gibbs-White as a depth option? I like Morgan Gibbs-White. I don't know if we'll do it. Look how good Joel Linton is. Could convert Jesus like so. Joel Linton has the profile to be a central midfielder, in my opinion. If you look at Joel Linton's profile, he's tall, he's strong. I just don't think that Jesus has got that. Jesus is also, he's great at pressing. He's terrible at actually tackling. If you ever watch Jesus chasing back to try and make a tackle, almost always fouls his man. Murillo, yeah, speaking of Forest, Murillo's still an option. I mean, that's one that we've not massively been linked to, but that I quite like. Due to the links with Hato and Kadioglu, whichever one of the left-backs would you want to move on? Zinchenko and Kivior. I think we lose Zinchenko and Kivior this summer. If we bring in a left-back, they have to replace Zinchenko, in my opinion. But I also think we're already at the point where we're oversubscribed in that left centre-back, left-back position anyway. Timber comes back into the squad. That leaves Kivior and Tomiyasu fighting for the same spot on the bench. And I think we get rid of Kivior. But we could get rid of... That could be either of them, to be quite honest. It could be either of them. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, go on, hit the like button. Go on, do me a favour. Anyway, look, it is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. Fingers on your keyboards, because we're starting now. Clue number 1, this player is 38 years old. Clue number 1, this player is 38 years old. Clue number 2, they scored 11 goals in 251 games for Arsenal. They scored 11 goals in 251 games for Arsenal. Clue number 3, they joined Arsenal in January 2013 for £8 million. They joined Arsenal in January 2013 for £8 million. Clue number 4, they retired at Real Sociedad in 2022. Clue number 4, they retired at Real Sociedad in 2022. And clue number 5, they scored against Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final. God, my voice is going. They scored against Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final. Who got it first? Make sure I don't get VAR checked. There we go. The first person to get it right, and today's winner is James Bidder. Congratulations, James Bidder. It was indeed Nacho Monreal. What a player. What a player. Monreal is the definition of just all reliable. All reliable was Nacho Monreal. Sportcat was actually second. Arsenal fans in the chat getting really put to shame here by a Chelsea fan who got it before them. Third was Amar. Fourth was Ethan Udall, although he's put Montreal, not Monreal, but we'll give it to him. And fifth was Logical Nonsense. There you go. That is your top 5. Congratulations to James Bidder. Congratulations to James Bidder. I love Monreal. Never dropped below a 7 out of 10, like Ben White of that era. Yeah. Monreal, that's actually a great comparison. Monreal was the Ben White of that era. I just look in the chat. I don't actually know it. Oh, fair enough. Well, either way. Monreal and Sanya were so reliable. They were. Congratulations to James Bidder. Congratulations. Anyway, on to Guess the Non-Gooner. It's time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. You have to guess who that player is. First person to get it right in the chat wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community, but not as much respect as James Bidder currently has. Thoughts on Callum Hudson-Odoi from Forest? Considering they need to sell, we could get him on the cheap. Yeah, Hudson-Odoi is an interesting one. I wouldn't say no to it. Injury issues, the only concern with Callum Hudson-Odoi. This player started their career at Rosenborg. They went on loan to Bodo Glimt. They then moved permanently to FC Groningen. They moved permanently to FC Midtjylland. They moved permanently to Crystal Palace. They went on loan to Ghent. They went on loan to Trabzonspor. They moved permanently to RB Leipzig. They went on loan to Real Sociedad. They went on loan to Real Sociedad again. And they are currently at Villarreal. So, Rosenborg, Bodo Glimt on loan, Groningen, Midtjylland, Palace, Ghent on loan, Trabzonspor on loan, Leipzig, Sociedad on loan again, Villarreal. Who got it first? Loads of you have got it, but who got it first? That is the question. Some of you going for Lookman. Smart, but wrong. Who did get it first? There you go. Jakob Arsen got it first. It was Sorloth. Jakob got it again. Ethan Udall was second. Sportcat was third. Ultra Pro Gamer was fourth. And Oslo Gooner was fifth. So there you go. Oslo Gooner, that's one of yours. But there you go. Congratulations to our winner. It was indeed Sorloth. Pulled a masterclass against Madrid. He did. Has Granit Xhaka scored? Have they even kicked off? Why did you say Xhaka boom? Has he scored? Because we've got Granit Xhaka. He did score. Xhaka boom. There you go. I mean, they're still on course to do the whole domestic season unbeaten, right? Or did they lose in the... No, yeah, they're still on course to do the whole domestic season unbeaten. They don't have a version of the Carabao Cup, do they? Because we've got Granit Xhaka. Got front row tickets for Liverpool Arsenal for preseason. Where is that game? Where is Liverpool Arsenal game? Granit Xhaka is such a cool name. It is. I mean, that would be pretty impressive to do the domestic season unbeaten. Pretty mental. I mean, how did that opposition team make it to the final? FC Kaiserslautern from the second, but the team that they're playing in the final finished 13th in the Bundesliga 2. How did that happen? Philadelphia. Philly. Nice. didn't convince Xhaka to stay? Was it a mistake? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, hindsight's wonderful, but I think if Timber and or Partey, if either of them had been fit for the majority of the season, no one would have looked at it as a massive mistake. DFB Pokal always has random teams making it far for some reason. Do they not? Do German teams just not take it as seriously as the big teams take the FA Cup? Or I don't know. I don't know. I hope we play the MLS All Stars again. Yeah, I'm not sure what the plan is actually. Not sure what the plan is. Look, that is going to be the end of the stream. I'm going live on Twitch in about 15 minutes. I've got to do it early tonight, so we're doing an early Twitch stream. So yeah, in about 15 minutes, I'm going to go live on Twitch. We'll be playing some Foot Champs, maybe some Road 96 again. Link to the Twitch is down in the description below. But that's it. Obviously, we're live at 3 o'clock tomorrow over on Tifo for the the playoff final. Probably be live again at 6:30 tomorrow on here if there's Arsenal news to talk about as well. But other than that, enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like button on your way out, and I will catch you later. Goodbye.